Good morning. Today is Friday the 25th of September. Welcome to this morning's reflection. Over the weeks since these reflections began, there have been a number of references to gardening. In April and May, those of us fortunate enough to have an outdoor space enjoyed the warm weather and relaxing and working in our gardens. Then, as the year has moved on, and the rain has fallen, growth has increased in speed, and despite having more time to spend looking after it, parts of my garden are looking overgrown and maybe a little out of control. This made me think about a passage in a book that I have recently reread. This book was The Shack by Paul Young. It's a book that was very popular some years ago, but it did divide opinions. For those of you who haven't come across it before, it is a work of fiction that attempts to explore how individuals relate to God. The central character is a man called Mac, whose youngest child was murdered. After this, he felt very disconnected from God, until, in the story, he finishes up spending a weekend with God, as represented by three different people, standing for the three persons of the Trinity. However, how does this link to gardens? During the weekend with God, Mac was taken to see a garden. The garden was an absolute riot of colour, but there was very little sign of organisation, and closer inspection revealed areas of weeds, or wild flowers, growing at random amongst the more traditional garden flowers. It was then revealed that the garden was a visual image of Mac's life up to that point. It showed the times when things had been going smoothly, mixed with the times of stress, strain, and lack of direction. However, the overall effect was not one of total disharmony. The final part of the garden section in the book involved Mac and Jesus putting a tremendous effort into uprooting a large tree, one that wasn't problematic apart from the fact that it was deep-rooted. This was to prepare the ground for something new. So back to our own gardens. As I commented at the beginning, try as we might, both weeds and plants will grow beyond the bounds we would like to set. Those of us who like organisation may find this very frustrating, even depressing at times. However, I have to make myself look at the chaos with other eyes. My pond is totally overgrown, and the water mint always travels across and falls over into the water. I have to resist tidying it up, as once it is in flower, it is an absolute magnet for butterflies, especially small tortoiseshells, and it is a joy sitting beside the pond watching them feed. Then there is the Montbretia. I cleared the excess from the garden and put it down by the compost bins. This past month it has been a real picture, as though in my mind discarded, it has flowered magnificently, better even than that still in the garden. You have to go looking for it though, as it's in a hidden corner of the garden. Oh, and then there are the nettles. Well, here we're back to the butterflies. Some species need nettles for their eggs and caterpillars. So what about our lives? Some parts of them are a bit messy, and we may have periods of time when we feel we've lost our way. These are the weedy patches. Sometimes we have to let something good in itself become deep-rooted in our lives, and there comes a time when it needs to be uprooted to allow something else in its place. Nevertheless, God looks at it all and sees something of worth and value even in the difficult times, the messy bits. I want us to finish with some words from the book Desert Depths by Simon Park, using them as a meditation and as our prayer. God's grace is working, not despite what we are, but by means of what we are. So go now, not in fear, but in celebration. Celebrate the presence. Yes. Let's take a moment to do that. Amen.